That's a good word. We're really great teammates, and we also have a lot of fun together, and we love each other. One time, Jeff actually told me that. He goes, "You know, you're an explorer," and I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yes." He goes, "You're a pilot. You like to see the world." They really embrace their culture when they dress, and so I think it's just in me, and you know. Yeah, it's a little sexy. When I was 20, I thought, oh my gosh, life is over at 50. Let me tell you, it is not, ladies. It is not over. It is just beginning.
I'm Lauren Sánchez, exclusively with the president, and I just want to say first, so how are you feeling?
Great.
Just awarded $110 million to 40 grantees that are helping combat homelessness.
There's only 6% of pilots are women, and then there's even less in the film industry. So I was like, I want to film movies. That's what I want to do.
Knocked on his, it's different, excuse me, not Genesis. They knocked on his window and they're like, do you need help? But I love it. It's so exciting.
Anthony Miller speaks in first person and sets the record with dates, names, and proof. He met Lauren Sánchez in 1996, dated 4 years, and proposed after 2.5. He found a diary. He read about multiple affairs. He ended the engagement, and she kept the ring. Years later, the affair with Jeff Bezos came to light, along with leaked messages tracing her brother and a legal fight that followed. No rumors, only facts and direct fallout. This is Lauren Sánchez's latest news tied to court filings, timelines, and sworn actions. This is Anthony Miller's scandal update, told without spin. I walk you through the relationship, the discovery, the ring, the affair, the leak, and the legal consequences. What choice would you make if a diary proved betrayal? What question would you ask Anthony today? What would you ask Lauren? He set the timeline in simple terms. In 1996, he was catching passes in Denver, and she was reporting from the sideline. The connection formed fast, and the routine became solid. Dinners after games, early flights, studio tapings. He admired the ambition and the grind. He watched credits roll on Extra and Fox Sports News, and saw a career build in real time. He also saw the private side at home. He said Lauren Sánchez was attentive in person, helpful, calm, and focused. He said she could switch off the noise and make a room feel steady. He planned a future and marked the days. He bought a ring. He proposed after 2.5 years. He called the proposal a response to pressure, but he still offered commitment. He expected the same level of truth in return, and he wrote down the dates to prove he kept his end. Then he described friction that never left. He said the money dynamic was never balanced. He said she earned well but avoided spending. He said he covered the dinners, the trips, and the small daily costs. He called it pattern. He added that details around schedules never aligned. He saw guarded phones, clipped answers, and stories that shifted when checked. Those points now sit inside Anthony Miller's scandal update as fixed facts. They are also part of Lauren Sánchez's latest news because they lead directly to the moment that changed everything. He measured trust day by day and still wanted the relationship to work. He pushed out to the side and chose love anyway. He said that choice did not erase the tension. It only delayed the conflict that was already on the calendar. The discovery arrived without a plan. He found a diary while moving through a shared space. He opened it. He read it. He learned about multiple affairs written in the first person. The entries describe meeting times and locations. The entries confirmed the gap between life at home and life away. He said the feeling landed like a punch. He said the notes explained every guarded call and every dodged question. He ended the engagement. He did it with certainty because the record was clear. He expected the ring to come back. It did not. He marked that decision as a final insult because the ring signaled a promise while the diary recorded the opposite. He closed the door on that chapter and drew a line under the timeline with Lauren Sánchez. After the breakup, additional facts surfaced. Friends delivered details they had held back during the relationship. Timelines that felt fuzzy clicked into place. Each new piece matched what the diary already confirmed. He compiled the pattern into Anthony Miller's scandal update so that anyone could follow the steps without guesswork. He folded the same pattern into Lauren Sánchez's latest news because it explains why the engagement ended and why the ring became a symbol of disrespect. He asked a simple question that follows the evidence. What would you do after reading proof like that? Would you end the engagement on the spot? Would you ask for the ring back or let it sit as a reminder of the promise broken in writing? He then laid out the timeline that followed. She dated Tony Gonzalez and had a child with him, and that relationship ended in 2001. She became engaged to Henry Simmons in 2003, and that engagement ended. She married Patrick, a powerful talent agent. In 2005, they built a home, raised 2 children, and ran demanding careers. Every date on that path is documented. Every change in status is recorded. He said the continuity looked polished from a distance, yet the private pattern he had already mapped did not change in his notes. He kept those notes to himself and moved on with his work. He did not speak publicly. He did not seek attention. He accepted the past, even as the name Lauren Sánchez returned to major life milestones on a steady rhythm. In 2019, the facts reached a new scale. The relationship between her and Jeff Bezos became public while both were still married. Divorces followed. The legal filings exist. The dates are fixed. That shift remains part of Anthony Miller's scandal update because the origin point mirrors the pattern he had already documented years before. It also sits inside Lauren Sánchez's latest news because it marks the bridge between a private timeline and a legal outcome felt by multiple families. He noted the connection and kept his own voice quiet. He did not revise his notes. He did not add an opinion. He kept the language simple and stayed with the record tied to Lauren Sánchez and the decisions that moved from private rooms into courthouses. The leak of private messages drew a straight line through the story. The National Enquirer published texts and photos that identified the participants by name. Investigators traced the source to Michael Sanchez, her brother, and documented a payment of $200,000. Jeff Bezos responded in writing, hired investigators, and accused the tabloid of attempted blackmail in a public letter. Legal teams engaged across multiple fronts, and filings preserved the record. The core facts are not disputed inside this narrative. The leak came from a family member, money changed hands, and the paper trail exists. He read the filings and added the entries to his notes on Lauren Sánchez. He connected the events to the earlier pattern he had already confirmed in the diary. He explained his position without drama. He said, "I couldn't really trust her." He said, "She gets around." He placed those sentences on the record to complete the file. He tied them to the evidence already preserved in dates, entries, and filings. He made it clear that his goal was accuracy and closure. He wanted the facts to stand on their own. That update belongs in Anthony Miller's scandal update because it states his conclusion in plain language. It also belongs in Lauren Sánchez's latest news because it clarifies why the engagement ended and why the ring stayed in a drawer instead of returning to him. He also described the ring as a symbol of the cost he had already paid. He bought it. He offered it with a promise. When the engagement ended after the diary, the ring stayed with her. He called that decision the final insult because the promise attached to it was gone. He had already covered the shared life expenses throughout those years. He said that fact sits on the same ledger as the ring that never came back. That ledger appears inside Anthony Miller's scandal update to show the financial side of the breakup. It appears inside Lauren Sánchez's latest news to show how a single object can record a choice that cannot be erased by time. How would you resolve a ring kept after confirmed betrayal? What would you write in your own timeline if the same facts were yours to carry? Lauren Sánchez. He walked back through the early days to show how simple the plan had been. 2 careers, 1 home, mutual support. He said that when she was present, the support felt real. Meals appeared, tension dropped. Small kindnesses happened without being asked. He said the shift came when distance entered the routine. Business trips stacked up, messages arrived late, explanations shrank. He noted each instance without commentary. He wrote down the date, the place, and the mismatch in stories. He said the point is not to grade feelings. The point is to keep the timeline honest. He chose that method because timelines do not argue. They show, and when you compare entries across months, the shape appears. That shape matched what the diary stated in plain sentences. It matched the financial pattern. It matched the kept ring. It justified the breakup on its own, and the diary made a conclusion certain. He explained why he spoke now. He said the wedding date placed the story at a natural inflection point. He said silence had served its purpose, but accuracy mattered more than comfort. He stated that a record built on diaries, filings, and dates belongs in the open before new vows are made. He did not seek contact. He did not ask for restitution. He asked for clarity. He delivered a single conclusion from the evidence. Trust broke, and it broke because the proof said so. He asked 2 questions that travel with any breakup built on documents. What do you do with a ring tied to a promise that the record voids? What do you do with a pattern that repeats across years and partners? How would you handle those answers if they were yours to live with day after day? He linked every turning point to a concrete outcome. The engagement ended on the day the diary ended the promise. The ring stayed with her, and the ledger reflected that loss. The later affair created 2 divorces, and the filings closed those chapters. The leak triggered contracts, payments, and litigation aligned to the amounts and names already documented. He said those are not opinions. Those are the legal facts and the direct fallout. He said the pattern never lives in rumors, because the pattern lives in documents. He listed the artifacts, a diary, a payment record, text messages, and formal letters preserved for the file. He then asked a direct question to anyone listening. When documents write the story for you, do you trust the documents or the wishes that oppose them? What would you add to your record to make the next chapter accountable to the last? He returned to the first line he spoke in the beginning. He respects people who show up for the hard parts. He said she could be warm, helpful, and steady in the room. He said kindness matters, and he does not erase it. But he said trust outranks warmth when a home is at stake. He said trust is binary. It is either present or absent. Once the diary set the needle to 0, the math did not change. The ring did not change it. Time did not change it. He said that is why the story ends where it ends for him. He wanted a life built on one story told the same way in the room and away from it. He said his record now holds that line so that every part of the past stays clear, complete, and demonstrated. He added one final note to the file. He said every decision improves with full context. He said the documents provide that context. If you were choosing a partner today, would you want this record on the table? If you saw the entries in the filings, what questions would you ask before you sign your name? Add your questions for Anthony in the comments, and write the follow-up you want answered. What detail matters most? The diary, the ring, the leak, or the divorces? Which fact would change your decision if you stood in his place?